In this video, we're going to talk about triangles. We're going to talk about calculating the area and the perimeter and knowing the parts of the triangle. So in a triangle, you have two parts. You have the height, altitude. Okay, those are the same thing. And then you have the base. Okay, the height or the altitude is just the height of the triangle. And then the base is going to be the line that's perpendicular to the height. Okay. In an obtuse triangle, the height is going to be represented outside of the triangle because if you try to represent it inside, you're not going to be able to get the full height. So we create a dotted line on the outside. Now it's important to remember that the base is not included in the dotted line. Okay, the base is still just the actual line that is perpendicular to the height, not including that dotted line. Okay. Um, then in a right triangle, the height or the altitude is going to be one of the legs, and then the base is going to be the other leg. Okay. In a triangle that's not a right triangle, so for example, these two triangles, the height is going to usually be represented as a dotted line. To calculate the area of a triangle, you're going to take 1/2 times the base times the height or the altitude. Okay, this can also be written as base times height divided by 2. Okay, B stands for base, H stands for height. Okay, so we're going to complete the statement here. Okay, CD is the altitude to the line containing base AB. Okay, remember the base is just the actual triangle part. It does not include the dotted line right here. Okay, and then blank is the height from the base. Okay, so that means CD. Okay, it's the height. All right, if DF is the base, okay, then that means that DE is the altitude to that base, right? Because remember the altitude and the base are perpendicular to each other. So here we're going to determine which line segment is the base if the dotted line is the altitude height. Okay, so again, we're looking for the perpendicular line. All right, so if LM is the altitude, then LK is going to be the base because it's perpendicular. Okay, here, if FH, all right, is the altitude, okay, or actually there's not a letter there. So if this line is the altitude, okay, then HG is going to be the base. And then on this one, if this dotted line is the base, then TU, sorry, the dotted line is the height, then TU is going to be the base. Okay, so what we're going to actually do is calculate the area of these given triangles. So if we're given that AD is 1 inch, DB is 3 inches, and CD is 2.2 inches. Okay, remember that area is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so we're going to take the base. Now, if we look here, the whole base, all right, is AB. So we're going to have to add these together, okay? AB equals 4. So my base is 4, and my height is 2.2. I'm going to divide that by 2, okay? So if I take 4 and I multiply it times 2.2, that's going to give me 8.8. And then if I take 8.8 and I divide that by 2, then that is going to give me 4.4. So the area is 4.4 inches squared. Remember, when we talk about area, the units are squared. Okay, in this one, all right, SW is 20, TU is 15. Okay, so remember the dotted line is not a part of the base. All right, so we don't have to figure out what this dotted line is. We have all the information we need right here. SW is my height, 15 is my base. So if I take 15, I multiply it by 20 and divide it by 2. Okay, 15 times 20 is 300. And if I divide that by 2, I get 150. So then the area here is 150 meters squared. Okay, on this one, we have a right triangle, all right? Now, it doesn't designate which one is base and height, so we're going to assume this one is height and that this is the base, okay? Um, so we're going to take 10 times 24, and we're going to divide that by 2, okay? 10 times 24 is 240, okay? If we divide 240 divided by 2, that gives us 120. So the area of this shape is 120 feet squared. And that is the end of how to try to find the area of a triangle.